who knows me, you'll know that I love Christmas, and you can imagine my excitement when last year I saw a poster for a Christmas Carols event that was happening in Albert Park, an area, well, a wider area actually, Port Phillip, that hadn't previously had Christmas Carols. And I was fascinated not only that this event was popping out of a grassroots movement, but that it was done by a team of amazing, skilled, very dedicated women. It was all women on the committee.
Yeah.
And I'm for the Lakeside Carols, and I'm thrilled to have two of the committee members here today, Olivia and Jo. Thank you for coming. I was just really keen to know how the event sort of got traction. I first saw the poster for it in my laundromat actually, and I was so excited I took a photo and sent it to people. How did you, first of all, tell us a bit about the Lakeside Carols and how you sort of started to get traction in the community?
Well, me and Liv got together, our kids go to school together, and so we got chatting about how much we love Christmas and how much we really thought that a carols event should happen here, and Liv had a very strong backstory in that
I can tell the story.
It makes me cry.
It's a little bit sad. So my beautiful mum passed away 4 years ago, a few days before Christmas, and I had booked carol singers to come and sing by her bedside, but they were booked for the evening of the morning she passed away, and so that was obviously heartbreaking. Shortly after she died, I was walking through St Vincent's Park, our beautiful local park, and I kind of had this vision, if you like. Wow, wouldn't it be great if we could have the carols that Mum didn't get to have for our local community?
I've got goosebumps.
I know. And you know,
yeah.
And so then Jo and I were at a Christmas event, and we kind of got chatting about carols, and we looked at each other, and I kind of told her that story, and her eyes filled with tears, and she said, I can make this happen. We had, you know, as part of probably the campaign that you saw in the laundromat, we then had people approaching us and saying, could we be part of it? We'd love you to, we'd love to be supporting you. So I think part of the strength in getting our message out there was the team that we had. So we were kind of making it up as we went along. We were, as Vanessa, our guru marketing girl, said, we were building the plane while we were flying on it. But you know,
it worked. It was a good plane.
Yeah, it was a good plane. But I think what was underpinning it all was this was a passion and a commitment to really bring something authentic and meaningful and grassroots, as you say, to our community that we love so much. That was lacking. Every year I would sit down and Google City of Port Phillip Christmas Carols. Nothing would come up. Oh, again, I've got to go to somewhere else.
So I saw the poster in the laundromat. How did you? I know you were sort of, evolving as you went. Did you have a clear idea on, okay, we're going to put it in shop fronts, we're going to go out through the schools? How did you get that momentum?
So I had previously done a music festival at the City Mine Music Hall, which I built myself as well, Children's Music Festival. And so to fund that, we had done a possible campaign, a crowdfunding campaign. And so I suggested to Liv, maybe this could be a good way to do it. And actually it ended up being a really great way of getting the community involved from the very get-go. So, anyone who wanted this thing to happen would give us some money to help us create it. So it really was a grassroots built by the community for the community.
And that was kind of our first milestone, wasn't it? It was like, okay, if we get the funding through the Possible campaign, then we can go ahead, because we were then able to go to sponsors and say, look, we've got the support of the community, so we'd love you to come on board, which will not only help us create this amazing event and realise the vision, but support your brand as well in the local community. So, but to be honest, I was reflecting on this question, how did we get it out there? It was just a hell of a lot of hard work, actually. It was, we recruited, Jo had her kids delivering flyers to different places. I recruited my dad, who was walking the streets of St Kilda, not just giving out flyers to everybody. But we recruited, all of my mums from kindergarten. They were all putting out flyers and telling their friends. And I think if you can create an energy, and in my experience of marketing and business development and sales, it doesn't really matter where you direct the energy, as long as the energy is happening, will come to fruition.
Yeah, and you're so right when you talked about for the community, by the community, because it really had that feel.
Yeah.
And with the vision, and I think that's what got me as well in the poster, and when I went onto the website, was there isn't one in Albert Park, we want one. It's like, yes.
Yes.
And it felt like part of this community movement of,
Yeah. Well, we were blown away by the community support, weren't we? We were hoping and praying that people were as passionate about it as we were, and by and large they were. You know, we had an afternoon in Bunnings, standing, shaking a tin and handing out flyers. Bunnings were amazing. They gave us this whole table and everything, and people were phenomenal. They just empty their pockets and give to these random women standing there with antlers on, and people would get so excited by it. And then, you know, as the event got up and running, people were donating boxes of wine, and they were just, it was their time and their manpower. Yeah. We were blown away by the generosity.
Yeah. I think you were able to engage because you sold the why, not what we were doing, so why we were doing it, and people were immediately on board.
We did. You know, I think Christmas is obviously an amazing time of year, but it could easily have been any event to bring people together.
Yes.
Because the three pillars that we identified were charity, so we were really passionate about having, being able to support a charity that were aligned with our values, which is why we chose St Kilda Mums. So obviously memory of my mum, but also a celebration of us as the committee. We've been 7 mums. And the second pillar was community, obviously, and that's pretty self-explanatory. And the third was around connection. And you know, in my work, my day job, I'm a psychologist and I teach mindfulness, and what I've learned over the last 10 years in doing that is we need to work in this area of connection, and that where global levels of loneliness are rising and people are not necessarily filled up. So just being able to create a space to bring people authentically together with passion and vulnerability and love and all those lovely mushy words, really, Christmas was the icing on the cake. It could have been anything though, really.
Yes.
And I remember in my Facebook feed, you know, someone says they're attending an event and it comes up, and it came up that they were attending. I'm like, how do you know about it? You know, and suddenly people that I'm not closely connected with, but connected with on Facebook, I started getting excited, saying, there you go, like this is, I could feel it.
Oh, now I've got goosebumps.
I could feel it moving, going, everyone's coming together for this.
Well, Joe and I and the other committee members started to get text messages from just random people saying, wow, like whatever you guys are doing, there's this energy out there, you know, from friends in St Kilda to the whole, it was really amazing. And we did have a secret weapon. We had Kate, our Facebook algorithm guru. So she was in the background doing whatever she does to get the message out there. So social media was huge in doing that.
Did you find you changed the way you promoted or engaged with people as it started to evolve based on the success you were having in certain areas? You went, oh, okay, this is working well, so we'll do a bit more of that, or did you just try different things and see what worked? And
thankfully we had, you know, Kate and Lou as well, who looked after our social media, and they just had a really good authentic voice, and they were talking to people and people were responding, and it wasn't like a corporate, it wasn't like a corporate person was talking to them. We just responded to how the community was responding to us. So it was a conversation.
Yeah. And I think, you know, we definitely complemented that with all the other things. So there was the flyer drops and the conversations we were having in the playground. There was all of the, you know, I was literally door knocking businesses along with Lou and Amber and making cold calls to get the message out there to corporates and to get the, or not corporates, but sponsors to get the funding. So I think it was definitely multi-pronged, and I think it evolved as we got more clear on what the hell we were doing. And Jo always knew what she was doing. I was just making it up.
Things changed quite a lot, but you've just got to be flexible and just you know, roll with it.
So we've talked about how you engaged with people coming to the event and getting people like me, the patrons, on board. But what about sponsorship? How did you go about engaging with sponsors? Was it with that community angle? What worked? What didn't work?
Great question, because that was quite a fundamental part for the success of the event. So, well, thankfully Jo's got how many years experience? 20? Yeah, long time. She knows what she's doing. So Jo had shared with me a template about what a sponsorship proposal might look like, and then I populated that, building with my experience of 10 years in recruitment and business development. So we knew what people would need to know. So yes, we absolutely had the community angle, and we absolutely had our vision and our mission. We didn't put in the my mum's story because that didn't feel as relevant as while it definitely brought heart. It needed to be bigger than my mum.
Yep.
And so we chose not to include that in the sponsorship proposal. By all means, I milked that story when I was looking at people face to face. Don't worry about that.
That's when they'd slide over the chair.
Yeah, and there were tears.
But that's such a discipline to say, we're going to have this strategy for this group.
I'd love to say it was disciplined. It probably just was
Evolved.
intuitive. Yeah.
But some of it is
Yeah.
evolving and seeing what works. And
Yeah. So we thought it was important to really explain to the sponsors that we did know what we were doing.
Yeah.
While this is our first
Yep.
year, we had no specific proven track record for an event like this. We've got someone like Joe managing it, someone like Hayley who's got 20 years experience in music direction, you know, Vanessa who's been doing PR and marketing
Yep.
comms for all her life since she was in a cot, I think, and then Kate with her social media. I was a bit more of an anomaly. I think I kind of brought the passion and
Yeah.
the excitement
You're
to
playing
it.
Yeah.
You were the pin that kept everything
I was the
together.
pin, that was it. And so we wanted to make sure that the sponsors knew
Yeah.
there was a robust team
Yes.
behind this event. It wasn't just going to be 200 people in the park singing with candles.
And another challenge for you was, you know, at most, or a lot of events, you buy a ticket, so someone's paid, you know, they're committed to coming, and you send them some messages and keep them engaged and lead up. But this, because it's a free event, people don't need to book. You've got to keep that engagement all the way up.
Yes.
Keep that messaging happening. It's not just, okay, they're interested.
Yes.
And not knowing, and I've run events like this where you
Yeah.
think, is anyone going to turn
Oh,
up to
totally.
this
We
event?
didn't know.
We didn't
Because
know.
you just have
Could've
no
just been
idea.
our families.
Yeah.
Or it could have been 10,000.
Yeah. we
and,
did.
and that's, yeah.
Yes.
At what point, well, first of all, how did you manage that? Because you certainly did keep us engaged.
Yeah.
How did you manage that? And then what was the point where you went, actually, this is going to be big?
We knew that it was going to be fairly big because of the engagement we had on social media. So we had, I think, about 900 people had said they were coming to the event, and with those 900 people, then they bring their families, and so
Yes.
we sort of estimated that we would be looking at between 2,000 and 3,000 people.
Yeah.
So that's what we based our figures on. I mean, if the weather, you never know with the weather, if it
Yeah.
rains, or it was a 38-degree day that day, so
Pretty hot.
Just watching people walking down from their houses, for those who were fortunate to live in that very close vicinity, or people who parked nearby, it just had this local feel. And I'm like, oh gosh, there's more people
They're
coming.
coming.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
then that builds in all sorts of flow-on effects
Yeah.
for the experience, for your sponsors to see. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We were quite blown away by the number of people. At one point, Joe and I stood, backstage and kind of looked out and went, wow, oh, sugar, we actually did it. Yeah.
What do you think? We talked about the vision. Do you think that was the main ingredient to your success in getting people to buy into the?
Yes, I think
The
that was key, but also I think fundamentally it wasn't here. We needed it. People wanted it. That was
Yeah.
really, it was kind of a really simple.
And a lot of stuff that happens in Port Phillip happens in St Kilda, or
Yeah.
over that side of the lake.
Yeah.
And not a lot tends to happen down
Yes.
there. The way that the council works, and the council is amazingly supportive, and the way that Port Phillip Council works is that they wait for a groundswell of community engagement before they'll give money for an event. So they want an event to be authentic,
Yes.
which is to their credit, but
Yeah.
also it means that unless there are people like me and live creating that stuff, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So,
And you've hit the nail there, because often people say, we want to run a ball. I get a lot of clients say, I want to run this. And my first thing is why? And what's the need for this?
Yeah.
And you went straight to, instead of going, we feel like running this and we hope people, but you found that gap.
Yeah.
And it showed.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful, I think, for other communities who are trying to run things, that there's got to be a purpose, not just for the sake of running.
Absolutely. It was
Yeah.
a very clear purpose, and it was really bringing people together at this time of year in a way that wasn't exclusive. Exclusive, is that the right word? It was inclusive.
It was very, yes.
Very inclusive
Yep.
of every culture and religion and everything. It was,
Yeah.
come as you are, and we wanted to really create a festival feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
when I think about what surprised me the most, it was working with this amazing team of women who were not getting paid. They were all doing it for the love of it. And all these incredible people coming together. It was honestly, hands down, don't tell anybody else I've ever worked with, the best team I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
And it was magic. Really perfect.
Yeah.
Good work, ladies.
Yeah.
Put it together at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big question, are you having it again?
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
the day after I met with the council, the council loved it. The mayor was in our choir. Can you believe that?
That's community engagement.
And they came up to us afterwards and said, "This is a fantastic event. We're really want to support you again." So
Fantastic, and compared to maybe some other council big Christmas carols that are great, but they lose that community feel.
Yeah.
It's more an event you're going to. This really felt the connection, and we talked about that earlier, about that wanting to find community
Yeah.
in your own community. And I think
Yeah.
we sometimes think in the city, and because we're in a city, that people don't associate community necessarily when you're in such a hustle bustle.
Yeah.
But there is community there. It's
Yeah,
about finding
it's right
it, and when you
there.
tap into it,
Yeah.
it can be so powerful.
Magic.
Yeah. So thank you so much
No
for
worries,
joining me
Georgie.
today and sharing your experience and the story of Lakeside Carols. So we'll put the website up. Be sure to come down to Albert Park this year in December. See the amazing local event that this committee has put on from just sheer hard work, commitment, and an amazing skill background. And thanks for joining us.